All right, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is Mahesh.
And I'm Jim.
All right. And thanks for listening in. Again, we want to thank you for joining us because we know that we're a new podcast and we are building ourselves and trying to gain experience along the way as we go. And so we're open to any criticisms, positive ones.
Any topic requests?
Any topic requests, shout outs, or even if you're interested in being on the show, reach out to us, DM us. I'll put the email in the description. Just shoot us an email and we'll set up an appointment and go from there. And we'll work out all the technical details. So today, I guess we'll just kind of jump into a reaction to what has popped up on Twitter today. That's really hot topic that's going on right now, which is the FABE.
FABE.
In Spanish, the alphabet, right? So I'm going to say the alphabet in Spanish, and maybe you guys know what I'm talking about. The FABE is a hot topic on Twitter today. So, and the reason is because Joe Rogan did an interview with Mark Zuckerberg. And it was pretty interesting what was revealed in this interview, and we'll let you guys be the judge of that. But what do you say, Jim? What do you think?
I've listened to it a little bit. I don't think I listened to the full interview, but I seen the Zuckerberg playing the victim role in this one a little bit.
Yeah, that's how all CEOs kind of do that.
Yeah.
Lately.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on. I was just following suggestion.
What just happened?
Yeah.
Everything all right? Sorry, we have to do a quick cutaway there. Well, let's play it. It's a hot topic right now. Everybody's talking about it. It's flooding the interwebs. It's on Twitter. It's on Facebook. It's everywhere. It's controversial. And it's Joe Rogan talking about stuff that, well, I don't know. I'll let you decide. All right, here we go. I'm going to click play. And interesting question comes up by Joe Rogan. Won't you say, Jim?
I think it is.
Let's see what he has to say.
Who can make these decisions, and it's not just like one private company that's making decisions even about what just happens on our platform.
Allegedly.
How do you guys handle things when they're a big news item that's controversial? Like there was a lot of attention on Twitter during the election because of the Hunter Biden laptop story. The New York Post.
We had that too.
Yeah, so you guys censored that as well?
So we took a different path than Twitter. I mean, basically the background here is the FBI, I think, basically came to us.
Here it is.
Some folks on our team. It was like, hey, just so you know, like you should be on high alert. There was we thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice
Which there
that
wasn't.
basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. So just be vigilant. So our protocol is different from Twitter's. What Twitter did is they said you can't share this at all. We didn't do that. What we do is we have
we just
if
reroute your
something's
traffic.
reported to us as potentially misinformation, important misinformation. We also have this third-party fact-checking program because we don't want to be deciding what's true and false. And for I think it was 5 or 7 days.
I want to make a comment about the third-party fact-checking. That's not entirely true. And maybe he doesn't know. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because of this interview.
Right.
But those third-party sites, right?
Right.
A lot of the times they were using information to fact-check you with the very same articles that were wrong, that were misprints.
Well, the
right?
third-party fact-checking he's talking about was just the news media, the left-wing news media, and their comments on a lot of that. Also, the 2016 Russian...
Yeah, that was debunked as well.
Well, there was some Russian interference. They spent about $100,000 worth of ads, and that was it. And they take that as Russian interference.
Right.
And they know what it was. I mean, there wasn't anything beyond that.
That would be like if
It wasn't like it was a big secret.
It would be like if I am a dual citizen of a country, right? I'm a Russian and an American. But because I live here, I gave $100,000 donation to something, right? Because it's part of my... I'm saying that a lot of that got counted in as interference when it's not really. It was already debunked. There was already exposed by a lot of good journalists like Matt Taibbi, Glenn Greenwald. All these guys debunked it. These are great journalists. I recommend you. They're on Substack. And they were fired from their jobs because they were just reporting the truth.
Right.
So take that into consideration. Now, when he said that a lot of these third-party fact checkers go back and check information, I did the research along with other people and saw that a lot of the data or information that these fact checkers would use to censor you was often information that was wrong. Like it was stories that had to go back and be retracted because they were wrong. And they were using these so-called retracted stories to make you wrong. So that's a whole other scam going on right now that no one's talking about. And the complexity of how many layers down this thing goes and how complicated it got. And now it's so convoluted that now we can't do anything about it because now they're okaying a lot of the things we got censored for now. But it's too late now. Now all the damage has been done.
But
right?
is he going to stop censoring?
According to what I so far I've been listening to this thing, the whole thing in the van while I was at work today, and he says that his focus is not to censor because he knows that as a business, the more you censor people or force people into a certain box, you're going to lose those people to other businesses.
Yeah, he's going to harm his product.
And he admitted that towards the end of his podcast. He was saying that I realize now, when he said the word now, I think he was saying in real time, I think we are realizing now that we need to focus more on helping people achieve their goals rather than pushing them in a situation where we're losing them to competitors like TikTok. So it looks like he wants to compete with TikTok from what I'm gathering.
Let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
It sounds like he wants to compete with Twitter also.
Right. He's trying to take all of them. This was his opportunity to sell his business, right? So that's why he's on here.
But I don't know which way he wants to compete with Twitter, if he wants to create more bots like Twitter has.
Yeah, that question also comes up. I recommend you go watch the full interview with Joe Rogan and Mark Zuckerberg. It was very well done. I got a lot more insight into his mindset and how he thought. And it makes sense. And Joe Rogan did a really good job bringing out of him. That's a good interviewer in my mind. Someone who can bring out everything in a casual way, in not any kind of a divisive way. He just made him. He just made him bring it out on his own. So I thought that was good. So let's finish up here real quick, and then we'll give our few comments on it. Yeah.
When it was basically being determined whether it was false. The distribution on Facebook was decreased, but people were still allowed to share it. So you could still share it. You could still consume it.
So when you say the distribution is decreased,
it got shared.
How does that work?
It basically, the ranking in newsfeed was a little bit less. So
I'd like to know.
That's basically censoring.
So
pause
it
that
definitely,
just for a second.
By what percentage?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it's...
How convenient. Go ahead.
I'd like to know how the censorship actually works. Does it censor it in that state, or does it go by territory? I mean,
he did a very good job dancing around this. If you listen, he tippy-toed his way around this question very well.
But when they talk about censorship, I mean, how, like if I send out something to my Facebook,
right,
and I put it on to all my friends, do my friends really get to see it? Is he censoring my personal list of friends? Or if I put it on public, is it not going public and it's only staying within my friend circle?
I think that is more the answer. That's what I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, shadow banning, right? Because what you're doing is you're reducing your exposure to anybody outside of your circle, which in a way is kind of censorship.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen stuff.
It may not be as aggressive as Twitter.
I had people send me stuff that they said they posted on Facebook, but I never seen it on my feed.
Yeah.
And they sent it to me via private chat, and then when I click on it, then I could go to it.
Yes, that is, and there's a lot of people with those stories. That's part of it.
I'm curious how their algorithms. It's
now,
probably too deep a dive,
He does get into it later on in the podcast because Joe Rogan keeps coming back at it.
He's trying to dig that out of.
He's trying to keep and he did. So we got some answers, but we didn't get concrete answers because, like, as we were about to see what he does with the FBI question, it's almost like he's not saying it but saying it.
Yeah,
watch.
It's meaningful, but basically, a lot of people were still able to share it. We got a lot of complaints that was the case. Obviously this is a hyper political issue, so depending on what side of the political spectrum, you either think we didn't censor it enough or censored it way too much.
People were able to share it.
But we weren't sort of as black and white
or
about
they
it
weren't
as,
able
as
to.
Twitter. We just kind of thought, hey, look, if
people
the
complained
FBI,
to him
which
about,
I still view as a
like
legitimate
the FBI was
institution in this
complaining,
country,
hey, people are
it's
still
very
sharing
professional
this.
So he kind of alluded to the fact that and even though we still allowed it to be shared, people were complaining that we weren't censoring it enough, and then he jumped to.
That's what I was hearing.
Yeah,
he was getting complaints that it was still being shared too much.
Right.
Okay, go on.
So he doesn't specify who or
enforcement. They come to us and tell us that we need to be on guard about something, then I want to take that seriously.
Did they specifically say you need to be on guard about that story?
No, I don't remember if it was that specifically, but it was.
Did you see that hesitation?
Yeah.
Pattern.
When something like that turns out to be real, is there regret for not having it evenly distributed and for throttling the distribution of that story?
What do you mean evenly distributed?
I mean evenly in that it's not suppressed. It's not.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because it turned out after the fact. I mean, the fact checkers looked into it. No one was able to say it was false, right? So basically, it had this period where it was getting list distribution.
How long does it take your fact checkers to check stuff anyway?
I think it sucks though. I think in the same way that probably having to go through like a criminal trial but being proven innocent in the end sucks. Like it still sucks to have like that you had to go through a criminal trial, but at the end you're free. So it's I don't know if the answer would have been don't do anything or don't have any process. I think the process was pretty reasonable. We still let people share it. But obviously you don't want situations like that.
But certainly much more reasonable than Twitter's stance. And it's probably also the case of armchair quarterbacking, right? Or at least Monday morning quarterbacking, I should say. Because in the moment, you had reason to believe, based on the FBI talking
so he's giving them the benefit of the doubt.
And that there was going to be some propaganda. So what do you do?
Yeah.
And then if you just let it get out there, and what if it changes the election and it turns out to be bullshit? That's a real problem. And I would imagine that those kind of decisions are the most difficult. The decisions of like what is allowed and what is not allowed.
Yeah. I mean, what would you do in that situation?
I don't know what
I would not be
I would have
judge
to,
and
like,
jury
really
and do that in that
first of all,
situation. I would
you're
let
dealing
it
with the New York
happen as it happens.
So,
Did
you see his enthusiasm? He said, "What would you do?" Because he's trying to let us know from that interaction that, yeah, it is a lot of stress, and I probably don't get to say in the end. So there's somebody above him.
Well, you know what I would do?
Yeah.
If the FBI came to me after what just went on with Russia, all that was BS before, and the FBI was behind it, I would be looking at these guys sideways. What the hell?
Well,
you guys going to start this all over again?
That would be how you look at it because you have that knowledge. Let's assume
he has that knowledge back then too. He knows that Russia, all was BS by the time the laptop came out. That was all open news. Everybody knew it was BS by then. So you can't tell me he doesn't know what's going on.
No, I don't think what the impression I got, and this could be my impression. Somebody watching or listening could have think otherwise, but the impression I got was that a lot of this interview was him trying to market his up-and-coming projects so that he got it out to the public. And also to kind of try and say, hey, I'm not the one making these decisions. I'm just following my orders because I have a business I don't want to lose in America, right?
I understand him being a businessman, and
he's trying to straddle that line.
Face.
Right.
He's trying to save his ass.
Right. On all sides, because he's got to answer to us, the consumer, but also we're not considering he's got to answer to some people above him.
Right. But he doesn't have to answer to the FBI.
Okay. We're saying that now. But
well, even then, he didn't say the FBI came to him directly. They came to people in his business,
correct, organization. Right.
So
there is a chance
probably came to him and said, "Hey, should we do this because the FBI said this?"
Right.
And he probably,
yeah. I mean,
he should have said, "Just go on business as usual." That FBI thing.
It made me more I don't want to say compassionate, but it made me more conscious that when you become a business owner, you got to think about the consequences upstream and downstream, which puts you in a pickle because you're like in between a rock and a hard place because either way you can be screwed. Is the impression I got from what Mark Zuckerberg was trying to say. He was trying to say that either way I go, I can really be screwing the pooch. So I have to. It's a difficult position to be in, and he keeps reverting back to saying how much of a
he would not ever stand on the Constitution and say, "Hey, I've got constitutional right to let people have the freedom of speech."
Right.
And that would be that simple.
Yeah. But
I don't think he's got the kahunas to do that.
I don't think any business person
I don't think it's about his business.
You think so?
I think if he stood with that kind of firmness,
bravado,
I think both sides of the fence would respect him.
Right.
So, anyway,
that's a good point. If you're listening, Mark Zuckerberg, that's something to consider. If you ever come across this, but I think people value, especially now in these times that we're living in, people value strength, especially in uncertain times. And when we see business owners or characters or heroic figures, we always look to the people that come across as like, hey, this is a solution that we have and this is what we're doing. And I'm not going to let government or politics get in the way of that. This is how I'm going to run my business. This is what my people like, people being your customers, your consumers, right? And I think that should be where any business focus should be, is the consumer, not government. Government is kind of a middle guy that gets in the way of everything. They don't. I've never seen a situation where a government helped it get better. I mean, some people could argue that government has to be the policeman for like.
I have friends in the FBI and I have friends that were in the FBI that have retired.
I'm doing that fake thing where like, should I cut? We said FABE.
It's out there.
It's all right.
It's too late.
All right.
So anyway, these people have no respect for what went down, what happened by these superiors.
In terms of censoring and the raid?
As far back as the Russia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The stroke stage, whatever.
Yeah.
All of that. And it's the same actors that are involved now that were involved then.
Yes. I just finished a book by...
Did you see what just popped up on my phone?
What?
Take a look at that.
Let me see. They must be listening to our conversation.
It just popped up there.
FBI special agent who opened Trump investigation has been escorted out of the bureau headquarters. Guys, I don't know if you can see that, but my goodness.
I mean, when we're having this conversation.
Right as we were talking.
I was like, boing. Well, anyway.
Yes.
Puppy up.
Yeah. So I guess the moral of this episode or story is...
get off of Facebook.
is that just let's all try to be more conscious. Let's all try to reach across whatever imaginary aisle that's in your head and have a conversation with our fellow citizens, our fellow brethren, neighbors. Doesn't matter if your hair is blue or like you want to call yourself a unicorn or, you like hunting and, you all about the Constitution, whatever it is.
Pronoun you use to describe yourself.
Whatever
we'll
you
just
think,
have to accept that.
Whatever idea you have concretized in your head that says, I am this. It's not beneficial to you or me. It does no good. It doesn't advance our society in any way. I think it's important we have dialogue. We talk to each other. We share information, and we try to find a way to see what is common in each of us and bond on that. And with that, I leave you. Look out for the FABE. Go ahead, Jim.
I think you've pretty much covered it all. And have a good life.
All right. We'll catch you guys on the next episode. And thanks for listening. Again, if you guys are interested, go ahead and hit us up. I'll put my email in the description. We can arrange shout-outs, interviews, or you just want to come on the show and chit-chat about something because it's really grinding your gears. No worries. we'll take you on.
Yeah.
Also, anything in the entrepreneur field, we are wanting to talk to more entrepreneurial-minded people so that we can talk about the challenges they face and maybe the ways that you've overcome these challenges and continue to do so, because I think that's also something we want to offer our listeners and our viewers. So thank you for joining us.
Please subscribe. Please
like
subscribe.
and share.
Like, share.
Heck, if you
tell your friends about us.
Yeah. And like I said, if there's something that's irking you, put it in the comments. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll bring it up on the next show.
Yeah. And we'll talk to you if you want to. We'll bring you on.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for keeping an open mind and enjoy. Have a great life.